Hare Krishna, welcome to this episode of Chaitanya Charitamrita. In today's episode, we will be reading from the 7th chapter, 83 verse onwards of the Adilila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, and the topic is Bhakti versus Moksha. How greater is Bhakti than Moksha? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna, welcome to this episode of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So in this episode we will be reading about the glories of Bhakti as compared to Moksha. So we will be reading from the 7th chapter of the Adilila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, 83rd verse onwards. But before we go there, we will chant this verse, the Panchatattva Mahamantra, and then we will go there. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupaswarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. I offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Krishna, who is non-different from his features as a devotee, devotional incarnation, devotional manifestation, pure devotee and devotional energy. So if you remember, last week we did not have our Chaitanya Charitamrita session, but the week before that we had, and we were talking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's conversation with Prakashananda Saraswati as he was explaining the glories of the holy name. The supremacy of the holy name. Now here, in today's verse, we will be continuing his description of not only the supremacy of the holy name, but after we chant Hare Krishna, after he chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, what was the effect? Because this is a very significant conversation, because Prakashananda Saraswati and his Mayavadi followers, all Mayavadis, they are after moksha. All the austerities that they do, all the study of the Vedanta that they do is to achieve moksha. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here is asserting the far superior status of bhakti than moksha, and the kind of happiness that is possible in bhakti that is impossible in moksha. Right? So this is where we left off, 81 and 82. So My dear Lord, what kind of mantra have you given me? I have become mad simply by chanting this Maha Mantra. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says to Ishwarpuri. So this is the incident that he was describing. Okay, just a second. I'll close the window because unnecessary noise. So, and then finally he said this in the last session we have read. Hasaya nachaya more koraya krandan eta suni guru hasi balila vachan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, chanting the holy name in ecstasy causes me to dance, laugh and cry. When my spiritual master heard all this, he smiled and then began to speak. So this is where we stopped. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is describing to Prakashananda Saraswati that first Prakashananda Saraswati asks him, why are you singing and dancing like a sentimentalist madman? You are a sannyasi. You should be studying the Vedanta. You should be grave. We should be, composed. What is this you are doing? And you are too young. You were not ready for sannyas. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu starts describing. He said, my Guru Maharaj saw that I was a great fool and I was unfit for the study of Vedanta. So therefore he gave me the Maha Mantra, this Hare Krishna mantra, telling me that this is the essence of all the Vedanta. You just chant this. So I chanted and I started feeling ecstatic symptoms, which I did not know. Was it the right effect of chanting? And then I checked with my spiritual master. This is an important lesson because whatever we experience, whatever we feel, or whatever realizations we have to check with the spiritual master, either the Diksha Guru or the Shiksha Guru, those who are advanced. We have to check with them, this is correct or not. Is this what I am feeling, whatever I am feeling is correct, or is it according to the scriptural rules, or is it something some completely bogus. So we have to check with that, check with the Guru. So that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did. So this is how he checked with the Guru. That he asked this question, that you asked me to chant, what kind of mantra you have given me? I am becoming mad. Then when he described these symptoms, then Ishwarpuri, his spiritual master, said, oh, this is all normal. He smiled and said, he started to speak. So what he spoke is what we're going to read today. Okay. Now, this does not necessarily happen the way Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the inaugurator of the holy name of the Sankirtan. But this is how he explained to Prakashananda Saraswati. Ishwarpuri never saw that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a great fool. No. He found himself fortunate to be Guru of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But this is how he presented himself to the Mayavadi sannyasi. So anyway, this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that his Guru told him. Okay. Krishna nama maha mantrer eita svabhav jai jape tara Krishna upajaya bhav. It is the nature of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra that anyone who chants it immediately develops his loving ecstasy for Krishna. Purport. In this verse, it is explained that one who chants the Hare Krishna mantra develops bhava, ecstasy, which is the point at which revelation begins. It is the preliminary stage in developing one's original love of God. Now, revelation. So, Krishna revealing himself, that will start at the stage of bhava. And bhava is just one step before complete love of Godhead, prema. It is the preliminary stage in developing one's original love of God. Lord Krishna mentions this bhava stage in the Bhagavad Gita 10.8. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate इति मत्वा भजन्ते मां बुधा भावसमन्विताः. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Bhava samanvitaha means fully imbued with bhava. What is that imbued with bhava? Iti matva bhajante mam. The devotees, they know me to be the source of everything, that everything emanates from me. The intelligent devotees, they understand these things and worship me filled with bhava. And this bhava is the most important thing in devotional service. We have to do with feeling. Prabhupada said that, this is from Bhagavad Gita, that Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. So Krishna asked, give me a flower, fruit, water, leaf. Krishna is not beggar. He is not asking these things actually. But he is asking bhaktya. Yome bhaktya prayachati. Those who offered me these things with devotion, I accept. It is the devotion that he accepts. Bhavagrahi Janardhan. There are so many talent shows. America's Got Talent, India's Got Talent, Britain's Got Talent. There are so many talent shows. But Krishna does not see whether you got talent or not, but whether you have bhava or not. Bhavagrahi, not talent grahi Janardhan. Bhavagrahi Janardhan. A neophyte disciple begins by hearing and chanting, associating with devotees, and these are all Ado Shraddha. This is order. Begins by hearing and chanting. So Ado Shraddha, Tato Sadhu Sangha, associating with devotees, and practicing the regulative principles, Bhajana Kriya. And thus he vanquishes all his unwanted bad habits, Anartha Nivritti Syat. In this way he develops attachment for Krishna, Nishtha, Ruchistata, Atha Asakti, and cannot forget Krishna even for a moment. Athasakti. And bhava is the almost successful stage of spiritual life. Almost successful. The successful means prema, love of Godhead. Bhava means the ecstatic emotional stage. A sincere student orally receives the holy name from the spiritual master, and after being initiated, he follows the regulative principles given by the spiritual master. When the holy name is properly served in this way, automatically the spiritual nature of the holy name spreads. In other words, the devotee becomes qualified in offenselessly chanting the holy name. So, a significant word here is when the holy name is properly served in this way. So, when we are chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are serving the holy name. We are serving. By chanting, we are serving. It's not that we are distributing the holy name, we are the distributors. No, we are serving the holy name. It's not that I own the holy name and I, give it out to others. Of course, it is said that a pure devotee, he owns Krishna. And then he distributes it to others, and distributes him to others. But even that is by service. Owning Krishna does not come without service. It's not like he is a proprietor by way of pride. No. By way of humility, he owns Krishna. When the holy name is properly served in this way, automatically the spiritual nature of the holy name spreads. In other words, the devotee becomes qualified in offenselessly chanting the holy name. When one is completely fit to chant the holy name in this way, he is eligible to make disciples all over the world, and he actually becomes Jagat Guru. You see? Means this is not Guru position is not simply some joke. One has to come to this stage, otherwise he cannot accept the position of Guru. Then the entire world under his influence begins to chant the holy names of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Thus, all the disciples of such a spiritual master increase in attachment for Krishna. And therefore, he sometimes cries, sometimes laughs, sometimes dances, and sometimes chants. These symptoms are very prominently manifest in the body of a pure devotee. Sometimes, when our students of the Krishna consciousness movement chant and dance, even in India, people are astonished to see how these foreigners have learned to chant and dance in this ecstatic fashion. As explained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, actually this is not due to practice, for without extra endeavor, these symptoms become manifest in anyone who sincerely chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Many fools, not knowing the transcendental nature of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, sometimes impede our loudly chanting this mantra. Yet one who is actually advanced in the fulfillment of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra induces others to chant also. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains, Krishna Shakti Vina Nahitar Pravartan. Unless one receives special power of attorney from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he cannot preach the glories of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Not that, Prabhu, this is very good. So I am not empowered, so I will not preach. I will just sit down. No. We have to just follow the order. It is not about empowerment anymore. We just have to follow the order of the spiritual master. And it is by the spiritual master's grace that the holy name will be spread. Because he is empowered. Now our duty is to just serve him. Nimitta matram bhavasavya sachan. Just like Krishna said, I have killed everybody in this battlefield. Now you become my instrument. Arjuna did not say that, okay, you have killed, right? Okay, very good. I will just relax on the side. No. Karishe vachanam tava. I will, do according to your plan. I will act according to your plan. But if you don't act, his plan will still work. But we will be unfortunate not to have participated in his plan. As devotees propagate the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the general population of the entire world gets the opportunity to understand the glories of the holy name. While chanting and dancing or hearing the holy name of the Lord, one automatically remembers the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and because there is no difference between the holy name and Krishna, the chanter is immediately linked with Krishna. Thus connected, a devotee develops his original attitude of service to the Lord. In this attitude of constantly serving Krishna, which is called bhava, he always thinks of Krishna in many different ways. One who has attained this bhava stage is no longer under the clutches of the illusory energy. When other spiritual ingredients such as trembling, perspiration and tears are added to this bhava stage, the devotee gradually attains love of Krishna. The holy name of Krishna is called the Mahamantra. Other mantras mentioned in the Narada Pancharatra are known simply as mantras, but the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is called the Mahamantra. So all this is quite self-explanatory. So next verse. Krishna Vishayaka Prema Parama Purushartha Jara Age Trinatulya Chari Purushartha. This is very nice. Krishna Vishayaka Prema Parama Purushartha Jara Age Trinatulya Chari Purushartha. Trinatulya means like, insignificant. Grass. Trina means grass. Trinadapi Sunichena. Religiosity, economic development, sense gratification and liberation are known as the four goals of life. Purushartha, achievements. But before love of Godhead, the fifth and highest goal, these appear as insignificant as straw in the street. Prema Parama Purushartha. The highest achievement of the goal of life is love of God. Prema Pumartho Mahan. Aradhyo Vrajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam. Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam. What is the second line? Oh, forgot the second line. The third line is this. In the third line, this comes. Prema Pumar. Srimad Bhagavatam Puranamamalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Sri Chaitanya. Forgot. Sri Chaitanya Matamidam. Sri Chaitanya Matamidam Tatradarana Paraha. I forgot the whole verse. Okay. But anyway, this part comes in the third line, that Prema Pumartho Mahan. Yeah. Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Ya Kalpita Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajeshatanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Ya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Puranamamalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Sri Chaitanya Matamidam. One word is missing. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhor Matamidam Tatradarana Para. So this is the exact verse. Yeah. Matta Smrita Jnanam Apohanam Cha. By Krishna we remember, we forget. So I forgot. By Krishna's grace, I remembered by Krishna's grace. So, before love of Godhead, the fifth and highest goal, these appear as insignificant as straw in the street. Straw in the street, how useless it is. I mean, who cares for some grass on the street? Nobody. And moksha becomes that unimportant when one has this love of Godhead. Now, this is the difference between bhakti and moksha, and this is the difference between the happiness enjoyed by the personalist versus the happiness enjoyed by the impersonalist. Now, this is what exactly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to tell Prakashananda Saraswati. You are ridiculing me for chanting and dancing. You don't even have the slightest idea on what position I am acting. Not even the slightest idea. Because you cannot even understand this stage. So yours is considered like the straw in the street, your stage. Even if you think you are moksha, you are liberated. But Vimukta Manina, they only think they are liberated. But even if they get liberated, the moksha, the kaivalyam, merging into the Lord, is just as insignificant as the straw in the street. So now actually, indirectly, he is ridiculing. He did not tell Prakashananda Saraswati, oh, your moksha is useless. No, he did not say that. But he said in a way that I am a fool. My guru told me that I am a fool. He asked me to chant and I had these symptoms. So I checked with him. And then he said, yeah, this is correct. Then he started to explain that, moksha is nothing compared to bhakti. In other words, he is ridiculing this Prakashananda Saraswati indirectly. Anyway, let's read the purport. Purport. While chanting the holy name of the Lord, one should not desire the material advancements represented by religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and ultimately liberation from the material world. One should not desire these things. Okay, now let me just take you to Mukundamala Stotra, where he nicely prays for these things. I mean, not these things. I don't want these things. He basically prays for that. So in the third verse, fourth verse, and fifth verse, Mukunda Murdhna Pranipatya Yache Bhavantamekāntam Iyantamartham Avismritistvacharanarvinde Bhave Bhave Mestu Bhavat Prasadat. O Lord Mukunda, I bow down my head to your Lordship and respectfully ask you to fulfill this one desire of mine, that in each of my future births I will, by your Lordship's mercy, always remember and never forget your lotus feet. So he's not asking for liberation. I ask you that in each of my future births, that means he's resigned to the fact that I will be, I think, staying in the material world because I'm sinful. But just give me this, that let me remember your lotus feet. That's it. And then next two verses also. Naham vande tava charanayor dvandvamadvandva heto kumbhi pakam gurumapi hare narakam napanetum ramya rama mridutanulata nandane pirantum bhave bhave hridaya bhavane bhavayeyam bhavantam. O Lord Hari, it is not to be saved from the dualities of material existence or the grim tribulations of the Kumbhibhaga. Now you see, Naham Vande, I am not praying to Tava Charanayor, to your lotus feet, Dvandvam Advandva Hetoh. Dvandva means this duality of the material world. Advandva means the merging into the Brahman effulgence, which everything Advandva, Advaita, oneness. To get myself to release myself from the Dvandva or this world of duality and to be situated in the Advandva platform. No. Heto means the cause. That's not my cause. Naham vande tava charanayor dvandvam advandva heto kumbhi pakam gurumapi hare narakam na apanetum. Not to be saved from the hell that I am asking you, I am praying to you. No, I don't care. I don't really care. Ramya Rama Mridutanulata Nandane Napirantum. Not to enjoy the delicate, beautiful, fair-skinned, delicate-bodied girls in the heavenly planets. Not to attain the heavenly pleasures that I pray to you. No. Bhave bhave hridaya bhavane bhavayeyam bhavantam. So in every life that I may take, just in my hridaya, in the chamber of my heart, hridaya bhavane. Bhavana means like hall. So in the chamber of my heart, bhavayeyam bhavantam. Let me always think of you. I think there's a TikTok video. Oh, did I chant this verse? Okay. So this is the word that we are looking for now. See, bhava. Bhavayeyam bhavantam. What is bhavayeyam? May I concentrate. See? This is bhava. Buddha bhava samanvitaha. I pray to your lotus feet only so I may remember you alone in the core of my heart, birth after birth. Now next one also. Nastha dharme navasunichaye naiva kamopabhoge yad bhavyam tad bhavatu bhagavan purva karmanurupam etat prarthyam mama bahumatam janma janmantarepi Tvatpadambhoruhayugagata nischala bhaktirastu. Again, I don't want na astha dharme na nastha dharme na vasunichaye na eva kama upabhoge and yad bhavyam tad bhavatu bhagavan purva karmanurupam. Now here he states the four, the purusharthas. Nastha means na, astha means special regard or respect. I don't have any special respect for dharma. Nastha dharme, na vasunichaye, the accumulation of wealth, na eva kama upabhoge. So adharma, artha and kama I have no respect. And moksha means what? Basically your sinful activities become, eradicated. Next line he says, Yad bhavyam tad bhavatu bhagavan. Whatever has to happen, let it happen according to purva karmanurupam. Whatever karma I have to accrue, whatever I have to go through because of my previous karmic reactions, let me go through. I am not asking for release from this karmic bondage. So I am not asking for liberation also. So he has no regard for dharma, artha, kama, nor is he asking for moksha. Etat prarthyam mama bahumatam. I mean, exceedingly, with great eagerness, I am praying that janma janmantarepi tvat padambhoruha yuga gata, means to your two lotus feet, nischala bhakti rastu. Nischala bhakti means nischala bhakti. Chanchala bhakti means chanchala means Lakshmi's another name is Chanchala. Not that she is wavering in her bhakti to Narayan. No, she is fixed at Narayan's feet. If somebody wants to have her favor, they cannot have. She will not stay in one place for very long. That means if somebody becomes rich, they will not stay rich forever. Eventually, when he dies, he will lose his wealth, or even while he is alive, the wealth will go away from him. So she is Chanchala, Lakshmi. So the wealth will not stay in one place. Chanchala, Chanchalam Himana Krishna. Arjuna was saying, mind is Chanchala, very very flickering. Opposite of Chanchala is Nischala. Nischala means fixed. Chala, like even in Hindi, chalo means go. Let's go. Chalo means go. So chala means to move. Chanchala means always moving. Nischala means not moving, fixed. Nischala bhakti rastu. At your lotus feet, let my devotion be fixed, birth after birth, janma janmantarepi. Now there is another verse. Of course, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also. No, not Bilumangal Thakur. He also said. Now since we are in Mukundamala, we will complete this Mukundamala 51. अलमलमलमेका प्राणिनां पातकानां निरसन विषयेया कृष्ण कृष्णेति वाणी यदि भवति मुकुन्दे भक्तिरानन्दसान्द्रा करतलकलिता सा मोक्ष साम्राज्य लक्ष्मी. By themselves, the words Krishna, Krishna are sufficient to drive away the sins of all living beings. Anyone who possesses devotion for the Lord Mukunda, that is densely imbued with ecstasy. This is what Ishwar Puri is telling. The ecstasy, the dense ecstasy. With ecstasy holds in the palms of his hands the gifts of liberation, worldly influence and wealth. Moksha Samrajya Lakshmi. Liberation, influence and opulence will be in the muthi mein. Muthi mein means, like in Hindi you say, within the palm of your hand. Karatala kalita sa. So within his complete grasp. This Bilumangal Thakur has said, what is that? Mukti Swayam Mukulitanjali. Oh. Here itself it is said in the purport. Bhaktistvai sthiratara bhagavanyadi syad daivena na phalati divya kishora murtihim मुक्ति स्वयं मुकुलितांजलि सेवते स्मान धर्मार्थ काम गतयः समयः प्रतीक्षाः. My dear Lord, if I am engaged in firm devotional service unto you, then I can very easily perceive your transcendental youthful form. And as far as liberation is concerned, she stands at my door with folded hands, waiting to serve me. And all material conveniences of religiosity, economic development and sense gratification stand with her. So, the Mayavadis, they try very hard to achieve moksha, but for the devotee, moksha waits at the door, waiting to serve the devotee. In other words, moksha is very easily gotten for the devotee, very, very easily. He doesn't even have to endeavor for it. Moksha endeavors to serve the devotee. Devotee does not endeavor to attain moksha. Moksha endeavors to serve the devotee. So, I'm so sorry. While chanting the holy name of the Lord, one should not desire the material advancements represented by religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and ultimately liberation from the material world. As stated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the highest perfection in life is to develop one's love for Krishna. Prema pumartho mahan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhor matamidam. When we compare love of Godhead with religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation, we can understand that these achievements may be desirable objectives for bubhukshus, or those who desire to enjoy this material world, and mumukshus, or those who desire liberation from it. But they are very insignificant in the eyes of a pure devotee who has developed bhava, the preliminary stage of love of Godhead. Bubhukshus and mumukshus, the sense enjoyers and the liberationists. Karmis, jnanis, bubhukshus, mumukshus. Now, dharma, religiosity, artha, economic development, kama, sense gratification, and moksha, liberation, are the four principles of religion that pertain to the material world. Therefore, in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam is declared, dharma projhita kaita votra. Cheating religious systems in terms of these four material principles are completely discarded from Srimad Bhagavatam, for Srimad Bhagavatam teaches only how to develop one's dormant love of God. The Bhagavad Gita is the preliminary study of Srimad Bhagavatam, and therefore it ends with the words Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. 1866 of Bhagavad Gita. To adopt this means one should reject all ideas. When he said Sarvadharman Parityajya, Parityajya means to give up. All kind of dharma, give up. That means even dharma, artha, kama, moksha, give up. And just surrender to Krishna. To adopt this means one should reject all ideas of religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation, and fully engage in the service of the Lord, which is transcendental to these four principles. Love of Godhead is the original function of the spirit soul, and it is as eternal as the soul and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This eternity is called Sanatana. When a devotee revives his loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it should be understood that he has been successful in achieving the desired goal of his life. At that time, everything is automatically done by the mercy of the holy name, and the devotee automatically advances in his spiritual progress. So this is how we have to understand that when one has achieved loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the holy name will do everything. Everything is automatically done by the mercy of the holy name. So, when we are chanting, we have to realize that it is not that we are manifesting the sound of the holy name with our mouths, but it's actually the holy name is already there. We are accepting it by using our tongue and capturing that holy name. We are on the receiving end of the holy name. So we have to understand that it is because of the holy name that we can sustain our spiritual life. Otherwise, we have no standing in our spiritual life. The holy name, when we say holy name, is non-different from Krishna. It is by Krishna's mercy or the mercy of the holy name that we make advancement. And Like you see the success of Srila Prabhupada, how much he has preached in 12 years. By the mercy of the holy name, everything was taking place because he has achieved love of Godhead. So the more we become serious in our devotional life, the more we advance by the mercy of the holy name. Today I have to stop the class a little earlier because I have to make the question paper for the BBA exam. So I think another 20 minutes or so we will end it. Panchama Purushartha Premanandamrita Sindhu Mokshadi Anandajar Nahe Ek Bindu. Pancham Purushartha Premanandamrita Sindhu Mokshadi Anandajar Nahe Ek Bindu. For a devotee who has actually developed bhava, the pleasure derived from dharma, artha, kama and moksha appears like a drop in the presence of the sea. I think you know this verse, right? I have showed it many times. This is by Rupa Goswami. It's quoted in the 7737 purport. From Bhaktirasamrita Sindhu 1.1.38. Brahmanando bhave desha chetparardha gunikritah naiti bhakti sukham bodhe paramanu. If Brahmananda, the bliss of merging in the Brahman effulgence, were multiplied 100 trillion times, it would still not equal even an atomic fragment of the ocean of transcendental bliss felt in devotional service. This is the distinction between bhakti and moksha. कृष्ण नामेर फल प्रेमा सर्वशास्त्रे कय भाग्य से प्रेमा तोमाय करिलो उदय. The conclusion of all revealed scriptures is that one should awaken his dormant love of Godhead. You are greatly fortunate to have already done so. So Ishwar Puri is telling Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that you are successful in achieving the complete perfection of all Vedanta. Because all the Vedanta says that you have to achieve love of Godhead, and you have achieved it just by chanting Mahamantra. How powerful is the Mahamantra? That's the point Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is trying to make. Premar svabhave kare chittatan ukshobha Krishnera charana praptye upajaya lobha. It is a characteristic of love of Godhead that by nature it induces transcendental symptoms in one's body and makes one more and more greedy to achieve the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, lotus feet of the Lord. प्रेमार स्वभावे भक्त हास्य कांदे गाय उन्मत्त हइया नाचे इति उति धाय. I remember another verse when iti uti dhai. There's another verse which is complete opposite of this verse. So when one actually develops love of Godhead, he naturally sometimes cries, sometimes laughs, sometimes chants, and sometimes runs here and there just like a madman. Okay, before we go further, let's show the other this is another Antya 6.227. जिह्वार लाल से जय इति उति धाय शिष्णोदर parayana Krishna nahi पाए. One who is subservient to the tongue and who thus goes here and there devoted to the genitals and the belly cannot attain Krishna. So this is the complete opposite of the other verse. So one in spiritual madness he goes iti uti dhai, that means running here and there. And this one is in sense gratification of tongue, belly, and genitals. Jihvar lalase, jihva means tongue. Jihvar lalase jai iti uti dhai, shishna udara. Shishna means genitals, udara means belly. Shishnodar parayan. Instead of Narayana parayana sar, Narayana para sarve, Vasudeva parayan, instead of Krishna parayan, he is Shishnodar parayan. Only thinking of how to fill up the belly and gratify the genitals, and of course gratify the tongue, belly, and genitals. Shishnodar parayan Krishna nahi paye. He cannot attain Krishna. But this iti uti dhai is premar swabhave bhakta hase kande gaye. Unmatta hayya nache iti uti dhai. There's another verse which is also similar to the other iti uti dhai. I'll show you. Very important instruction. Many times we have shared recently. जय लीला अमृत वीने खाय जदि अन्न पाने तबे भक्तेर दुर्बल जीवाना जार एक बिंदु पाने उत्फुल्लित तनु माने हास्य गाय करो ये नर्तना. Hase Gai Korayan Artha is actually men become strong and stout by eating sufficient grains, but the devotee who simply eats ordinary grains but does not taste the transcendental pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna gradually becomes weak and falls down from the transcendental position. Usually food makes you strong, but if you just focus on food, Jihvar lalase, Jai iti uti dhai, Shishnodar parayan, Krishna nahi paye. So, if you just become eating only, that means devotee should not be just eating, sleeping. The devotee who simply eats ordinary grains but does not taste the transcendental pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna, that means if he does not read the books, if he does not hear, he gradually becomes weak and falls down from the transcendental position. However, if one drinks but a drop of the nectar of Krishna's pastimes, his body and mind begin to bloom and he begins to laugh, sing and dance. Purport. All the devotees connected with the Krishna consciousness movement must read all the books that have been translated. The Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and others. The word is must. In India, some parts, I think in Andhra, they say must and should. Must and should, they say. So we must and should read all the books that have been translated. The Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and others. Otherwise, after some time, they will simply eat, sleep and fall down from their position. Thus, they will miss the opportunity to attain an eternal blissful life of transcendental pleasure. So, coming back to this verse, Premar swabhave bhakta hasya kande gaye unmata hoya nache iti uti dhai. When one actually develops love of Godhead, he naturally sometimes cries, sometimes laughs, sometimes chants, and sometimes runs here and there, just like a madman. Purport. In this connection, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami says that sometimes persons who have no love of Godhead at all display ecstatic bodily symptoms. Artificially, they sometimes laugh, cry, and dance just like madmen, but this cannot help one progress in Krishna consciousness. Rather, such artificial agitation of the body is to be given up when one naturally develops the necessary bodily symptoms. Actual blissful life, manifested in genuine spiritual laughing, crying, and dancing, is the symptom of real advancement in Krishna consciousness, which can be achieved by a person who always voluntarily engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. If one who is not yet developed imitates such symptoms artificially, he creates chaos in the spiritual life of human society. So we cannot imitate these things. This is coming at this these symptoms come at a very, very advanced stage. So if one imitates these things, an experienced devotee can easily see the fault in it, because a person who is that much engrossed in the bhava of Krishna will not be attached materially. But these rascals who imitate like this, they will have so many attachments to the body. So from that we can understand. So bhakti pareshanubhavo virakti. Virakti should be visible. Virakti means complete disgust for materialistic way of life. No interest absolutely in anything pertaining to the body. So that is the symptom. If one does not show that symptom, just making a show of some direct connection with Krishna, that's useless. Cheating oneself. And he will create chaos in the spiritual life of human society. In fact, anyway, this is kind of going a little bit off the tangent, but I've today only somebody was sharing with me some videos of so-called ISKCON devotees sharing weird stories about their direct contact with Krishna. So one devotee on the YouTube channel, in the videos, she is explaining how some devotees had direct experience with the Lord, and she doesn't name the devotee. She does just generic descriptions of some devotee who experienced something. I won't go into details, but as if they had a direct connection with the Lord. So by doing that, it's making the appearance of the Lord very cheap. The Lord will come every time some devotee cries, and then the Lord will come. No, He will not come. Okay? And our devotion is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Aslishyava padaratam pinashtumam adarshanan marmahatam karotuva. Even if you don't show me any darshan, adarshanan, still you are my prananath. You are the Lord of my life. I don't demand that you should come before me. But these stories, just complete bogus stories. Just saying something. And just to so-called increase the faith of the people. Oh, you call Narasimhadev, he will come. You call Krishna, he will come. Yeah, he will come. But we have to have some qualification. And even neophyte devotees, there are incidences where Narasimhadev helped and all that. But these stories are too hard to believe. That kind of stories they were telling. And nowadays in ISKCON this has become another trend. They tell some wild stories. Who knows what is true and what is not. Anything they are telling. So we cannot make it cheap. Yeah. So these are the importance of Prahlad Maharaj is minimized like that. Prahlad Maharaj, Lord came for devotees of such a standard as Prahlad Maharaj. And here Lord comes for anybody. Just because he has started devotional service a little bit, some devotee went to book distribution, it seems, and then somebody was ganging up on him, and then he chanted Namaste Narasimha, and suddenly they all the gangsters, they saw this Narasimha form, and they were frightened, they ran away from there, and he took one step towards them, they ran away in fear, they thought Narasimha was coming, some big lion is coming, something like this. I'm not saying it is impossible for Narasimha to do that, but how far it is true? I can also say tomorrow one story. I also did something and Narasimha came and something happened. I can also say. Where is no mention of the devotee's name, no mention of the place, nothing like anything. They're just saying anything, whatever they want. This is another becoming a big nonsense story. Story telling in ISKCON. So Prabhupada never did like this. He never, preached like this. If it is a real incident that happened, okay, the devotee also will be very, ecstatic to recollect such things, and at least bring the devotee who has experienced such a thing, something, and then interview him or something. Make it more believable. Just say some. There was one devotee who experienced this. I mean, come on. So, and then what it will encourage, that the more important thing is now some, wild stories first of all, and then what it will encourage in people who hear such stories. Oh, whenever I call Narasimhadev, he will come. No matter what I do, what is my standard, Narasimhadev will come, or Krishna will come, or they will, as if I am like a pure devotee, Prahlad Maharaj, suddenly. What kind of standard it takes for Narasimhadev to come for such a devotee? Yeah? Making it cheap. And tomorrow everybody will tell different stories. Because they heard this kind of story. Oh, I also must tell some story now. They will also tell some story. Oh, this happened, that happened. Krishna, I talked to Krishna, I talked to Radharani, I talked to Narasimhadev, I talked to, Vamana, these kind of things going on. We cannot allow these things. Pure devotees never speak like this. Did you ever say Prabhupada, saying like this, these kind of things? Confidentially reveal some things. That, when he was having heart attack, then Krishna massaged his heart. Prabhupada is saying it is believable, no? He changed the whole world. You can see Krishna Shakti Vina Nahirtar Pravartan. He is empowered. Shakti Avash Avatar. He says we can understand. We are completely, so many material attachments we have. Anartha Nivritti hasn't gone away. Directly having communion with Krishna. What is this nonsense? We cannot make it cheap. This is not Sahajiya nonsense movement. Sahajiya movement, they do like this. As if they have direct connection with Krishna from day one. Rascal until yesterday. Today he is Paramahamsa. Yesterday Parama Rascal, today Paramahamsa. How can that be possible? Absolute rubbish. What is that? One devotee said, Brahmarakshasa come to hear his chanting. Omkar Taware. One devotee said Brahmarakshasa came to hear his chanting. So powerful. When Bhaktivinoda Thakur employed somebody to read the Bhagavatam under the tree, the Brahmarakshasa who was staying in the tree ran away. Here Brahmarakshasa is coming means, I don't know. What kind of chanting is that? Everybody is telling all kind of wild stories. Nowadays this is becoming very common. Many devotees I see, some devotees sharing with me the clips from here, there. Where are they getting these stories? Where are they getting this? Simply some folklore. Grandmother stories they are telling. Because they have not reading. If you read, there is so much content in these books. Why we have to resort to such cheap storytelling to attract some, viewership, and then mislead them to thinking that Krishna is so easily attainable. The bar is so low, and anybody and everybody can access Krishna like that. See, we have to completely, set the right standards. We have to follow. Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidhim Vina Aikantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpataya Eva Kalpade. This is the actual verse for this kind of people. Shruti Smriti. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Rupa Goswami is saying here, devotional service of the Lord that ignores the authorized Vedic literatures like the Upanishads, Puranas, and Narada Pancharatra is simply an unnecessary disturbance in society. Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi, Pancharatra Vidhim Vina, Aikantiki Harer Bhakti Utpata Yava Kalpa. Utpata means disturbance. It creates a disturbance in the society and makes people go away from the real path. So, what is this quote? Prabhupada is explaining these things. So the Goswamis are praying in their mature stage. When they were living at Vrindavan, they were praying in this way: He Radhe Vrajadevike Chalalite, He Nand Suno Kutaha. Where Radharani, where are you? Where are your associates? Where you are? Nand Suno, the son of Nanda Maharaj Krishna. Where are you? Where are you all? They were searching after. They never said, I have seen Krishna dancing with the gopis. Last night I saw. This is Sahajiya. This is not mature devotee. They are called Sahajiya. They take everything very cheap. Krishna very cheap, Radharani very cheap, as if they can see every night. Srila Prabhupada's lecture, Radhashtami, August 29, 1971 in London. There you have it. So, actual blissful life manifested in genuine spiritual laughing, crying, and dancing is a symptom of real advancement in Krishna consciousness, which can be achieved by a person who always voluntarily engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. If one who is not yet developed imitates such symptoms artificially, he creates chaos in the spiritual life of human society. Okay. Wow. You know, this I would have loved to gone through this whole thing, but I really have the other service to complete, so I have to stop it here today. I'm so sorry. Today is a little bit earlier. So next week, of course, we will come back to this, and we will continue this superiority of bhakti as compared to moksha. Alright, so I'll stop here. I'll take any questions that are there. Rajeshwari Mataji is asking, Prabhuji, it also means that there are no other mantras in our Shastras as we call as Mahamantra? Yeah. Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So, of course, there are mantras for other ages. So, for Kali Yuga especially, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is stated. Dimitri is saying, it's quite difficult to not desire moksha because my heart is too impure to desire pure serving. Vicious circle. When we understand that moksha is actually insignificant, then we will attain that desire to just serve. Actually, service is way more blissful than just like Sundar Gopal Prabhu. He was mentioning this incident, and actually this even I have also experienced, and some devotees have this euphoric dream about going to a holy place. So Sundar Gopal Prabhu was saying that when he in his much younger days, when he was a brahmachari, he went to India and he went to Badrikashram, Badrinath, and he was there. It was good, fine, it was beautiful, it was nice, it was a holy place, very serene and everything. But then, very quickly, he was thinking, what am I doing here? What is my service? Like, I'm just sitting here and seeing this beautiful place, and okay, it's a holy place, fine, but what am I going to do? I'd rather be in a city where I can serve. That is more blissful, to be engaged in Krishna's service. And when I also went to pilgrimage, yeah, it is all good, seeing all the places, very nice, very nice. But then, yes, it is good for inspiration and knowing the glories, but then we have to serve. If we don't serve, like here in Singapore, there's like steady service, like okay, there's a regimen, there's a regime of service, like this is so many, we are full with like this plan, that plan, and doing this, doing that. There's so much practical service, busy, and the engagement of preaching work. But there, if you don't do preaching work, Just, some people want to, and some people have, as I said, this euphoric dream of living in a holy place. I want to settle down in Vrindavan, settle down in Mayapur, settle down in Haridwar. I tell them, you don't think this is some dream, some everything will be just magical and you'll, just be meditating on Krishna. No, that's not what's going to happen. If we are in the neophyte stage, we cannot do that. We will fall back to sensory desires. So we have to, and Prabhupada also did not encourage all the devotees to go and settle down in Vrindavan, Mayapur. No. He said, in your youth, while you have life in your body, preach. When you become old man, you cannot do anything, go to Vrindavan and Mayapur and settle down there. But you see, Prabhupada, by his own example, he was old man, 69 years old. He left Vrindavan. He could have said, I am in Radha Damodar temple, I will peacefully eat, here and take prasadam, take darshan of the Lord, and I will just read some Bhagavad Gita and pass my days, and I will die here. He could have done that, but he took the risk of dying. You see, he had heart attacks on the ship. He could have left the body on that ship, far away from Vrindavan. Usually every devotee wants to die in Vrindavan. But Prabhupada took the risk that he may not die in Vrindavan if he left now. But still he left, because the order of the spiritual master, the service to the Guru Seva, is more important than anything else. And there is a very instructive story between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri. This is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in Jagannath Puri. He was stationed there throughout his sannyas life. And every year, devotees from Bengal, they used to come to Orissa, this Jagannath Puri, for the Rath Yatra festival. And when they come, they don't want to leave. But because they have families, they have to leave. So Nityananda Prabhu said, I don't want to leave, I just want to be with you. I just want to stay here in Jagannath Puri. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, you have to go to Bengal. You have to preach. So the order of and Nityananda Prabhu went. So there Prabhupada mentions that executing the order of the spiritual master is more important than our sense gratification in spiritual life. If I want to stay in a holy place for my own satisfaction, that is sense gratification. For my satisfaction, I am staying in the holy place. But when I execute the order, it is for the Guru's satisfaction. Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasado, yasya aprasadan nagatih kutopi. So we have to satisfy the Guru. For that, if it requires that we have to go to the most materialistic place in the universe, we have to go there. And Prabhupada went into the very heart of materialism, in New York City, and he established the ISKCON society in New York. Is the very epicenter of materialistic society, New York. The entire world, New York was the dream place of the world. Even now it is kind of. Every culture, like the whole world is following basically American culture. And New York, Las Vegas, and what is that? Los Angeles. These cities are like the biggest names, like the pilgrimage sites of the world, of the materialists. Like for us, Vrindavan and Mayapur, how important they are. For them, New York and all these cities are very important. You see, this is their places of pilgrimage. For crows, for Hamsas, it's Vrindavan and Mayapur. For crows, it's like New York. And Srila Prabhupada went from the pilgrimage of the Hamsas, Paramahamsas, Vrindavan, to the pilgrimage of the crows, New York, and made that into a holy place. That is a pure devotee. And from there he spread. He saw that New York is the epicenter of all new culture. The broadcast from there, and the whole world is following them. So he went there and started Hare Krishna, and the whole world took off the Hare Krishna mantra. So, this is the kind of mission that the whole pure devotee undertakes. So, even at the ripe, advanced age, he took that risk and went. So, in our youthful age, why we should be going to Vrindavan and Mayapur and doing what? sense gratification, huh? Enjoying our senses. That's not what Vrindavan and Mayapur is for. It's for complete meditation on the pastimes of the Lord. So the only very advanced devotees can actually live there and not commit offense. That's why Prabhupada said, you go there Vrindavan 3 days, you come out. You stay there too long, you commit offense of dham aparadha. So that's why we have to stay where we are and engage with the association of devotees in service. If you don't have service, it is like even if you're in the holiest place in the universe, what are you doing? What are you doing? Where is the service? But even in hell, service is very blissful. Like you see, these countries, they don't have spiritual culture so much. It's quite a challenge to push on the movement, especially outside India. But devotees relish this. Not because they like this country or what. They like the challenge of preaching. They like that, that so much service is there to do. That is what brings actual bliss. M.K. Sharma. Hare Krishna Tattva Prabhu, all glories Prabhupada. Sri Ishwar Puripad, the most prominent disciple of Sri Madhavendra Puri, he spent most of his time residing at his Guru's ashram in Gaya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met him in the Vishnu temple in Gaya and accepted Vaishnava initiation from him. My question is that, is Gaya Dham is present in the spiritual world? If it is there, then where? Just curious to ask because I am from Gaya. क्षमा करें यदि यह प्रश्न अप्रासंगिक है. Okay, that's way too complicated Hindi for me. But I can kind of understand what you're saying. But I don't know where Gaya is in the spiritual world. There's no mention of it that I have heard. Or maybe it's there, but I do not know. I have not read all the scriptures, so I do not know where Gaya is in the spiritual world. We have heard of Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan, Mathura, Ayodhya Dham, Dwarka Dham, all these things, but I don't know Gaya, honestly. Vishnu, it must be one of the Vaikunthas. This is my guess only. Dhiradas is asking, is it Bhakti Today channel? Yeah, one of them is them also. That story is from, it was found on the channel. But there are other videos as well, where these kind of stories are coming up. Even brahmachari sitting in the temple, even so-called Ritviks, they are also giving this kind of stories. Wild stories. 3.6 कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य यास्ते मनसा स्मरन् इंद्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचार सौच्यते. One who restrains the senses of action but whose mind dwells on sense objects certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. Oh, there is a wisdom bites. Transcendental ecstasy versus imitation. So that's in the comment section, or in the YouTube it will be in the description. So Dimitri is asking, did you manage to meet saintly people during pilgrimage? Because there are many fake saints in Kali Yuga. Yeah, there are many fake saints and there may be real saints. But we have already the real saint Prabhupada, and that's why we have to go to pilgrimage in the association of devotees. So that association is the saintly association we are keeping. If we go alone, that's not the proper way to go to pilgrimage. We should go with the association of devotees. That is the proper way. And that saintly association was there. So why do I want to seek other saintly association? There was one time when Prabhupada's disciples were like meeting this Baba and that Baba in Vrindavan. Prabhupada wanted to stop that. He said, the entire spiritual world is within the four walls of this Krishna Balaram temple. None of you need to go anywhere outside. So he wanted to say that, you don't have to meet all these people. Our sadhu sangha, our saintly association is all within our community. Yes, maybe there are other saintly people, but I am not qualified to recognize them. And I may take some cheap imitator to be a saintly person, so because I am not qualified. So let just pay them respect. There are saints, pure saints, yes. There are also cheaters, let them be. I will do my part of following the instruction of the spiritual master, who is the real saint, who has broadcasted Vrindavan to all over the world. And there's no doubt about that. Srila Prabhupada is a saint. And his followers, sincere followers, is whom we have to keep association with. Alright, so I think I will stop here. Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Ishwarpuri ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.